Let's take a look a bit deeper into the leases in terms of controlled and uncontrolled expenses and caps. Now, the gross or full service lease has built into it all the expenses so that the tenant writes just one check and can accurately budget for that amount each month until the end of the lease contract. Let's think about those expenses. Some cannot be controlled. Others, for example, cleaning, utilities, and insurance, can be controlled. The tenant could use more or less electricity, for example, or they could hire a cleaning service that costs more or less. In a net lease, those controlled expenses, to a varying degree depending on the contract, are left to the tenant. This relieves the lessor from having to manage these expenses and incentivizes the tenant or lessee to be a good steward of available resources. Of course, like most contracts, there are many issues that can be negotiated. The length of the lease is one such item. You can imagine that a long-term lease for a good tenant is preferable to a lessor, particularly if the property undergoes a great deal of renovation. However, the lessee may not want to lock in for that extended time period. What if the business is not performing and the tenant has to leave? Or suppose a small retailer is doing so well, they'd like to expand to a larger space in a different location. Another strategy could be to place caps on the expenses. Doing so may provide a greater level of comfort to the lessee by placing a limit on specific lease expenses. As previously mentioned, when it comes to a leasing contract, everything is negotiable. Until next time, be well.